Here outside Atlanta Gas South Arena, we get part two of a back-to-back battle as the Georgia Swarm look to add on to a 6-game win streak against the Philadelphia Wings in pure desperation mode here on the March to May. Looking at the playoff, or the standings here, the playoff picture. Georgia 8-3, looking good in that 4th spot, but Philly 2-9, a lot of work to do. Welcome in, I'm Nick Kloss alongside the former NLL defender Drew Petkoff. Jack Sadigan down on the floor, and a little deja vu, Drew, with this matchup. We saw it just a day ago. Well, it's hard to beat a team twice.
Yeah, last night was a hard-fought battle. The Swarm came away with an 11-6 victory. A great defensive effort yet again from the Swarm. And Philadelphia still having some offensive woes that they're going to look to answer tonight.
Yeah, they'll really try to figure those out, and it's tough to figure those out when you got Brett Dobson and the Georgia defense to deal with. Drew, what makes this so special?
Yeah, this defense plays a very high-pressure system, and one of the great things about the defense is it's a true team defense. Everybody needs to be working in unison, as we see here. The Swarm defenders all over Philadelphia, creating havoc, creating chaos, and as we say when describing this defense, letting Dobson face the shots that he's supposed to. Now, when the defense maybe falters a little bit, Brett Dobson has been unbelievable in the net, as every team has been struggling to score against this Swarm defense.
Some of the guys who are going to try and get that offense going, some American-born players for Philly, they really lean into that, bringing up the U.S. guys.
Yeah, you see here Philadelphia is led by second-year forward Brendan O'Neill, an amazing career at Duke, helped Team USA beat Team Canada in the Outdoor World Championships, a phenomenal talent. He's joined by Joe Reziteritz. Joe is the record holder for points among NLL players born in the United States. Michael Sowers, unfortunately we won't see him tonight. He was on the IR from last night. And then Blaze Reardon, a field goaltender and a lefty forward for these Philadelphia Wings.
He's an American, so he plays field, in goal, and box during the winter. Down now with Jack Sadigan, Nolan Byrne.
Thanks, guys. Nolan, back-to-back. 2 games in 24 hours. How does this team keep the 6-game win streak going?
I mean, just stay on them. I mean, do what we did yesterday. Don't let them get into the game, and don't give them a chance. We'll be good.
Good luck tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Jack. Nolan Byrne, just 21 years old, but has played a huge part. That man has played a massive part to the Georgia Swarm season 8-3 record. Drew a .693 goals against average. I'd say that's pretty good. Actually, it's historic at the moment. And he'll go up against Nick DeMood, having a tough year, but this Philly team really needing to figure out the offense to help with that defense.
Well, you look at those goals against averages, and you know, Brett Dobson's is almost half of what Nick DeMood is. And Nick's isn't necessarily bad, but Brett is just having that good of a year. The Swarm defense is having that good of a year. I think this year offense might be down a little bit overall, it seems like. But that being said, the Swarm have a young defense. They have a very fast, agile, and tall defense, and it's a great style for what they have.
Philadelphia looking for a first win since they saw Buffalo back on February 7th. As our officials tonight get set. Look at Eddie Camo on the bench for the Georgia Swarm. This year 8-3. Eddie Camo, longtime head coach for Georgia, but also a longtime head coach in the NLL, stops in Toronto. Going against a younger coach in Ian Rubel, who joined Philadelphia a year ago. Underway from Gas South Arena. Jacob Hickey on the attack right away as Ryan Wagner picks up the loose ball and runs it to the other side. Now settled down, Brendan O'Neill, 34 in white. Blaze Reardon gets a touch. Dalton Young, the rookie. Inside, goes a little high. Get our first shot of the game, not on target. Over and back is Jordan McIntosh, a guy, Drew, who's getting back to his former transition days form.
Yeah, he scored last night. He scored a bunch of goals this year. He spent a couple years primarily coming out the back door as a defender, but doing a little bit of everything since the end of last year.
Been playing like a transition player of the year candidate. That was off from Richie Connell, second-year player out of Denver. Jeff Henrik will stomp on the ball and let Philly have it after that whistle. Brendan O'Neill has that amazing release right over the shoulder.
I was about to say the very distinctive wind-up. You always know it's Brendan O'Neill the way he shoots.
Definitely know that. That's something Ian Rubel talked about with Michael Sowers and Brendan O'Neill, is really just learning to shoot on the box net. It's one of the toughest parts. Obviously, Michael Sowers, he was put on IR before this game, so we will not see him. Philly on the attack. Good defense from Henrik, one-on-one, Reardon. Young, inside. Off the shoulder of Dobson, makes the save. Now we got a push against Van Scheppen. It'll stay on this end. There's Ian Rubel, I mentioned. Second season as the Philadelphia head coach. Coached the junior A team for St. Catharines for, I believe, 19 years, almost 20, he said to us. Here's Sam LeClaire, 20 points for him on the season. Young gets brought down, and Henrik retrieves.
Really nice slide by Tarbell there. Meets the offensive player as he's catching the ball. Tarbell had 4 blocks in last night's game, and a great slide there.
Georgia on the offensive. Brian Cole, Lyle Thompson, Nolan Burns, step down to Mood. A nice save as Cole falling in, that's in the crease.
That would have been an unbelievable goal if he converted on it. I don't know how he was able to hold on to it as he had 2 defenders kind of putting him in the spin cycle there.
Phil Caputo moves it up top. Low angle shot. Dobson keeps it out. Here's Michael Grace. Definite candidate for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, those boys in Toronto with Kirst and Hiltz are giving themselves great opportunities, but one of the top 3 in cause turnovers for Grace. Connell step down. That low-to-low rip goes into the stands, and everyone's head on a swivel. Liam Patton moves it on, and he'll get off Dalton Young. Blaze Reardon, everyone a touch. Brendan O'Neill coming from the box. Reardon has a lane off the shoulder and into the netting. That was wide open there.
That was an open shot, and that was a pretty big bullet by Blaze Reardon. For
that outside step down for Reardon.
Kind of funny, they go against each other in the field season.
Into the chest. They're 2 of the best field goalies in lacrosse.
Probably the 2 best, yeah.
But Blaze Reardon plays field in box or floor forward in box. Brett Dobson, he's goalie in both. Hickey in transition, didn't get it. No connection. Handoff from Jacob Hickey. Here's Cole, the product out of Maryland. Former Terp loses it. DeMood, outlet. Little out for pace.
Cole got checked as he kind of turned the corner there, and that's a really nice outlet from DeMood, putting it just in front. If he would have took just a little bit more off that ball so it was a 1 bouncer, that would have been a nice breakaway opportunity. But good job from the Swarm to get back on defense.
Young, overhand goes wide, collects his own rebound. Reardon heading to the front door with the shot clock getting low. Georgia takes possession. Here's McIntosh, captain of this Georgia Swarm squad, on a tear this year. Looking for their 7th straight win. Native Heritage Night, that's why they're in the black uniforms. Caleb Benedict. Good eat. And it's gonna be Benedict who clipped Patton, so it'll be Wings ball when we come back, but scoreless to start from Gas South Arena. 0-0, Philly and Georgia.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here.
Oh, what a move!
With NLL Friday night on TSN.
Back here at Gas South Arena, 0-0 scoreless here early. Getting a look at the Georgia Swarm bench. I mentioned the black jerseys. Never seen that ever in the Swarm history. Well, it's Native Heritage Night, so they always do a special jersey. And this year, they went with black. And we'll get more detail on the little things in that jersey later on in this game. Here's O'Neal. Ball cut, quick stick, doesn't connect. Reardon was trying to send it in front. One-handed pickup. Here's Van Scheppen.
Philadelphia, they didn't connect on that opportunity. They haven't connected on necessarily many, but they're there. Those opportunities are there. They're having, decent looks, decent scoring opportunities. If they can kind of connect on their passes, then they can put a few behind Dobson here.
Lyle Thompson, sidearm. Get a reset, no over and back, so Dobson can grab it. Burn, twister, doesn't go. Shane Jackson gives it to Thompson. Thompson, another one goes high. No reset, Cole. Shot gets blocked, or the pass, I should say. A battle here, Reardon. And that's Alex Pace doing the work in the corner. Get a look at the bottom of your screen, the series history. Philly 9-5. And the real shocker is the 7-1 against Georgia on the road. Swarm hoping to change that here today. Philly getting a touch. And this pass with 5 seconds left to go in the shot clock. We'll give it back to the Swarm. Here's Michael Grace. Michael Grace, just a rookie, 18 caused turnovers on the year. Now the offense. Swarm fans starting to get loud. Connell to Thompson. Keen Moon. No goal, other side, Davis Allen. Pulls out O'Neal, re-engage. BTB, Brett Dobson closes the door. Here's Jeff Henrick, the product out of Ohio State, moves it to Seth Van Scheppen. Brampton, Ontario, 10th overall pick back in 2022 by the Calgary Roughnecks. Here's Nolan Byrne, recent first-round pick himself. Keen Moon, another rookie. This Georgia youth movement. Byrne, he stopped in the crease.
A lot of good opportunities both ways, a lot of good defense both ways. This feels like it's got the makings of a high-scoring game, as we do have another whistle. The referees seem to be discussing something. We'll update you when we figure out what is going on.
Clock right now, 6:31, 0-0 with no score. And it looks like it was just a clarification between the official in between the boxes and the field officials. So ready to get reset. Adam Wiedemann on the ball. That's Dalton Young with it in his cross. Reardon stopped again, point blank by Dobson.
Philly is getting a lot of great potential opportunities at the very least. A great save by Dobson. You talked about Michael Grace earlier. He had a great shot block to send the ball wide, but Philly is getting their chances. I'm very impressed with their offense. For what I can remember of the games that we've seen this year, this is by far the most maybe stress that's been put on the Georgia defense by any team this early on.
Really haven't seen the Georgia offense create too much here early or possess. O'Neal flips it. Dobson again with the save. Landon Senfield with the shot. Jeff Henrik stuck on the offensive end. He'll get out to head to the back door. Offense coming in, Brian Cole. Keen Moon coming in. He's getting extra burn here. Thompson. Sidearm goes wide. Nolan Byrne. Dump! No!
I think Moon could have brought that in a little bit, maybe caught it and gone to the net. Good opportunity either way. Followed up by another good opportunity from the Swarm. So they're getting their chances. They're getting good looks still.
Who will break his scoreless seal? Couldn't connect on the quick stick. Sam LeClaire was there. Another save, Dobson. Shot from pace from the floor. Seth Van Scheppen with the loose ball. 4.5 minutes left. And in the first quarter, no one's found the back of the net. Nick DeMoot and Brett Dobson are still in the show. Benedict with the shot. Connell had it in his cross for a moment, but they'll head the other way with Ben Cromer. Great job by Isaiah Allen. Caputo gets it off the ground ball pass. Fake high, go low, O'Neal, no good. Jeff Henry in transition. Philly's got 3. Inside, McIntosh, bouncer, DeMoot keeps it out. Got a back and forth pace here, and it's the goalie setting the tone.
Yeah, track meet as we say. Really nice shot by McIntosh to get it off quick more than anything else. Right, he had 2 defenders collapsing on him. He could have maybe taken his time a tiny bit more, but trying to get that shot off quick.
And Dalton Young, short side, he scores. Opens it up, Philadelphia. A 1-0 lead.
Really a great individual effort here by Young. With one pump fake, he kind of gets Brett Dobson moving to Dobson's left. And as he does that, he puts it just over Dobson's right foot. So we see this move here. Looks like he's going to go low and to the top of the screen, and then kind of brings it back overhand and goes short side just over the foot. Dobson really thought that ball was going to go low to the far side, and so a little hesitant to get back. And again, a nice individual effort by Philadelphia, who again, I think is putting more pressure on the Georgia defense than we've seen all year.
Right now, Brett Dobson saving all but 1. He's got 15 saves tonight. Georgia's also gotten 13 shots. Caputo trying to get around. He goes for the dunk, no good. Here's Mike Manley, and he will drop it as we will take a break here. 2:47 to go. Both goalies, Nick DeMoon and Brett Dobson, the stars of the show. Philly leading by 1. There was one American we didn't mention, the Chantilly, Virginia native Dalton Young, a third-round pick by Philly back in 2023, nets his 2nd goal of the year and gets things going. Drew, you said Philly's offense putting a lot of pressure on Georgia right now. He finally breaks through.
Yeah, and we saw during the break, Tracy Koluski, I think yelling or maybe just hyping up the offense, trying to get them in. It's a defense that he's played against, so maybe he's giving them a little bit of tips from actually when I used to play against him. So
Jackson down low, Nick DeMoon, another big stop. How can you beat Brett Dobson? Beat better than Brett Dobson, maybe? It's hard to do, though. Reardon, low, Brett Dobson right on cue. Grace to Connell. Connell playing in the college box series, another American guy. DeMood on the outside, stop on Keen Moon. The box game getting more and more popular in the States as the years go on. Working in close quarters, Fennell. Dalton Young, Reardon. Quick trigger, no good. Caputo couldn't get it. Michael Grace, the loose ball. Hickey, another stop. And then we get a push going against Philly, staying on this end with Georgia. Minute 10 to go in the first quarter. Only 1 goal, low scoring. Byrne nets it! The rookie Nolan Byrne ties things up, 1-1.
And here we see another individual effort. Nolan Byrne goes, a nice swim, goes underneath, and he tucks it short side as he's diving. Does this go under his arm or over? A great play from Nolan Byrne to push the stick out far side, tuck it back in short side. Kind of a weird positioning, arm positioning from DeMood. And again, I couldn't see if it went over or under that hand, but kind of both were open. His arm was in a little bit of a weird spot, not covering the top. So leaving a little bit of room on both sides, but a great individual effort yet again.
Nolan Byrne had 3 goals yesterday against Philly. Now he's got 1 to start. It's going to be Wings ball down with Brendan O'Neill. 44 seconds. Dalton Young. Everyone getting a touch around. LeClaire. Skip pass. Fennell. Young. Top right corner. Dalton Young retakes the lead for Philly with 28 seconds to go, 2-1.
I'm gonna have to see here how Young got wide open in the middle, but a great play we see, couple picks, We see 2 Swarm defenders going low. I think it was Brennan O'Neill cutting through. Great recognition. So here we see 3 to Swarm defenders at the bottom there. Young sees that, pops up into the high slot, and just catches and shoots. Rare mistake you see from the Swarm defense. Again, Brett Dobson has saved some of those, but that's a really, really tough one to make a save on, as he's right in the middle. He has kind of the most opportunities to score, the most net to shoot at. So a great shot by Young yet again.
Not uncommon for Georgia Swarm games this year, as we will get a timeout from Philly with possession after they picked that up with 13 seconds.
So typically we see the timeout being saved, but there's not really a reason to do it at the end of the half versus the quarter. So again, whenever there's less than 30 on the game clock, it's an opportunity that there might be a timeout. So Philadelphia goes ahead, calls the timeout. If they're calling a timeout, 99% they're going to pull their goalie and look to go 6-on-5. I don't know if they're going to try. Now, they might try and get, Young open here, since he's got the hot hand so far. But, you know, again, I'm sure TK will draw something up. I would probably be looking for either Brennan O'Neill to have the shot or Brennan O'Neill to be a decoy, like look to shoot and pass to someone on the inside. So again, might be Young, because if it's going from a lefty, it would go to a righty.
Got the look there at the rookie leaders. I already mentioned CJ Kirsten, Owen Hiltz leading the way. There's one of the leading rookies from a season ago, and Brennan O'Neill. He has 10 seconds.
Putting pressure on right away, I like this adjustment.
LeClaire, 5 seconds. Caputo, and it's sent down the field by McIntosh, wide of the net. So 1 quarter done, and it is a fast-paced game in Georgia, but it's defense and goalies who are winning out. Philly with 2, the Swarm 1. A great one so far from Duluth. The NLL's March to May is brought to you by STX Lacrosse and Nike Lacrosse, the official equipment providers of the NLL. By TFL Sports, collect the stars of the National Lacrosse League with officially licensed trading cards and sticker albums. And by StubHub, your home for tickets to the speed and intensity of the NLL. Back into the action. Second quarter, 2-1, Philly in the lead. Here's Brennan O'Neill. Dalton Young, the only one to find the back of the net. O'Neill goes off the crossbar and out of play. Got to call Brennan O'Neill and Dyson Williams when they were at Duke. two of the best field players in college history. Fennell, outside shot saved by Dobson. And now becoming two of the best up-and-coming young box players. Obviously, Tyson Williams having so much experience. O'Neal new to the box game, but his coach Ian Rubel only talks about how much he cares. Bounce shot from Cole, saved by DeMuth. John. And off the leg, and out of play off Dobson. It'll be Philly ball off the ricochet. Native Heritage Night, one of the native players for Philly right there, Ron John. He came out to the midfield along with Deacon Knott to be honored amongst the other three Georgia native players. Plays Reardon, passing as he falls. Another save, point blank. Loose ball. Gathered up. Landon Sinfield, the rookie, a settle down here from the wings, getting a pop there on the saves. 14 for Brett Dobson. Fennell. LeClaire tiptoeing behind. O'Neal. Sidearm. Dobson stops it, was going 5-hole. Here comes Brett Dobson. Places the pass to Connell, now Keen Moon. Moon, hands free, just wide. Nolan Byrne with the rebound. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Shane Jackson off of DeMuth. There's the reset.
You don't often see a goaltender come out like that. Brett Dobson runs up and fires a bullet pass.
Not good on the pass to Connell in front. Hey, he's a field goalie too, so a little more used to that. It's a lot harder with all those pads.
Yes, much, much, much harder. Whenever we put kids in those pads for the first time, we're always looking for the wipeout.
Got a whistle down on the field, and seems like there's going to be a penalty. We'll get word. So get them on a legal substitution there. The in-home will serve for Georgia in, I believe that's Liam McGrath down there.
Yep. Unfortunate change error from the Georgia Swarm. Good opportunity to see the Philadelphia power play. Brendan O'Neal at the top.
Reardon up, O'Neal. Let it go, Caputo in front. That pass doesn't go. McIntosh pulls it away for Georgia. A minute and a half to go on the power play. They can hold on to it and kill as much time as possible. Obviously, the shot clock at 20.
Philly was really looking for a shot from the right side there. They sent a left-handed player across to set a pick and get someone open on the right side. I didn't see who it was supposed to be, but Georgia did a great job of basically getting in lanes and not letting that pass through.
Gets through, Lyle Thompson! Screened by Nolan Byrne. It's even 2-2.
You can see, I don't think DeMuth, I didn't know what happened. I don't think DeMuth knew what happened. So we see Lyle fighting off the double team, a bouncer. And now there's a great screen in front by Byrne. And it goes under. I was wondering if it went over top because I didn't see it pop over his shoulder, but the bouncer just goes underneath. I'm not sure if we got a piece of it, but it's really hard to see those through a screen. Oftentimes in, again, hockey and lacrosse culture, as a defender, you're taught to really move that guy out of the way, try and push him out of the way, or push him into the lane. And a great job by Byrne of being directly in his line of vision, so he couldn't really see what was happening and late to react.
Reardon. Rebound, he scores! Blaze Reardon. A quick answer on the power play after the shorthanded goal. Wings in front 3-2.
A very similar look to the first opportunity they had because they were looking to free up the shooter. A little bit of a different look, but basically, again, the first time they tried to free up the righty shooter, this time they free up Blaze Reardon. The initial save is made by Dobson, but Blaze does a great job of crashing the net, grabbing his own rebound, and he's able to go around Dobson before Brett can regain his composure.
Back to the middle for a face-off, Ben Trumbull. High pick for Georgia in this past draft. Takes a lot of the face-offs for the Swarm and plays on the defensive end. 7th overall pick in 2025. Great move in the corner. Another, and Dalton Young with the hat trick. 4-2.
Now, as we see the replay, the ball starts low, and again, just the individual effort and goes short side. I'm taking a quick look. It looked like he came close to stepping in the crease. No, I think he's pretty clear there. I thought I might have seen him come close to it, but another individual effort. It's really tough when you're the low defensive player. Generally speaking, you're usually trying to funnel people down the alley, if you will. But when you're the low player, you have to kind of set that edge and force them back up because that's where your support is. So a good job of Dalton Young of kind of faking high, going underneath, and again, winning the foot race and bearing it short side.
Drew, what's the difference here tonight with this Georgia defense? Jeff Henrik getting beat right there one-on-one.
I'm not really sure. It might be the foots. They're putting Georgia in a lot of foot races down low, and this is a defense that you really want to push guys to the low corner and look to double team. And maybe because they're starting a lot of these possessions very low themselves, it might be throwing guys off a little bit, maybe giving them a look they're not used to.
So now the offense, Caleb Benedict will try to answer back-to-back goals. Keen Moon falls down, Richie Connell turned back, cross, and 5-hole closed by Demuth. Possible transition opportunity. Patton has to slow it down and pull it away as the offensive reinforcements come in. Ron John keeps it. Now Caputo. Brendan O'Neill. Yet to get a point on the board. Down low, saved by Dobson. Benedict brings it over. Brett Dobson averages. McIntosh stepped down wide. So a very brief possession there for Georgia, but Dobson averages just under 7 goals against a game. Right now we got just about 9 minutes left to go, and he's already led in 4, so just 3 away. Been a very different game. Rolls, stays on the line, no goal. That was close.
Off the pipe, off Dobson. It looks like it's gonna stay out, but then he almost knocks it in and then keeps it out. So unbelievable job.
Maybe finally getting the offense going here in Duluth. 8:38 to go, and Philly 4 on the board.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here
Oh, what a move!
with NLL Friday night on TSN.
Four to 2 here, and the Philadelphia Wings, they dropped one at home yesterday, now ahead And Ian Rubel and his guys trying to get the win, and flashback to a year ago at home, or a little less. Big hit, and then Mitch Jones really early on.
Yeah, great hit by Adam Wiedemann on Brennan O'Neill. Mitch Jones comes in to defend his player. At the time, Mitch Jones was the leading scorer on the Wings. He ends up getting kicked out of this game for instigating. Flash forward, the Wings win that game 15-13. They win the next game because they also had back-to-backs last year. So the Wings won both back-to-backs last year with a lot of energy off of that fight. And we see a lot of high-paced, high-scoring, no fights yet, but a very exciting game so far this year.
Obviously, no Mitch Jones this year. Also, if you notice, great goal! Backdoor, they score! Nolan Byrne, another! 4-3.
Nolan Byrne is having one of the more impressive rookie campaigns that I've seen. He's just able to do a little bit of everything, and the balance, there's no question that he stays out of the crease there, and a great job of being behind essentially GLE and putting the ball in the net. What a great pass and a great goal.
He's just 21 years old. He left Lafayette playing Division I lacrosse in the States early, so he could play pro box lacrosse. As now we'll bring in Jack down on the floor. Jack, you got more on Nolan?
Yeah, Nick, the biggest note I heard from Eddie about Nolan Byrne is that there is no 21-year-old in the league making an impact like him. He said he's physical, stronger than expected. He can finish around the net, and he doesn't get intimidated even when he takes big hits, which he did early in the year against Buffalo. Got right back up, right back on his feet, and was playing with as much energy as ever in that game.
Nolan Byrne just getting better as the season goes on. You see him creeping up towards Hiltz and Kirst. He goes behind Shane Jackson. Thompson, kick save to Mood. Ball's loose, picked up Philly. With speed, Wagner moves it on. Van Scheppen guarding Dalton Young one-on-one. Lyle Thompson stuck back on the defensive end. Being tough on Dalton Young right now. And now Thompson getting on the offensive end to be ready. Works out for him, 7.5. You saw there is a power play for the Swarm. 1:10 right now, 5-on-4. A push penalty. I believe a cross check actually called against Philly. Step down, Byrne goes wide. Shane Jackson gets it after it was bounced in the bench. They're saying it was tipped, so stays on this end. Shane Jackson, the leading scorer for this Georgia team this year. Former league MVP back in 2020. Looking at the special team numbers in the bottom left. Byrne had room. Jackson. Cole. Thompson. Wide again. Bounces into the bench. This time it's not tipped, so it'll be Philly ball.
I like what Philly was doing with their man-down unit. I do something similar where you kind of stack the two top guys. They play a little bit tighter. I think it allows them to move a little bit easier going side to side. A traditional box, they're usually spread out a little bit more, but that opens them up to picks and seals a little bit easier. So I explain it as almost a 1-1-2.
Jordan McIntosh moves it for Cole. Slows it down and offensive numbers on. Benedict's from the front door. Last out, Nolan Byrne. He has really owned that left side. It wasn't much of a question coming in out of camp. Here he is, dumped behind. And in the crease.
Look for a flag on this, maybe just because they have 30 seconds. We see a flag indication on the bench. And he's got it in his hands, and there it is.
Eddie throws it. He looked at the iPad of one of his assistants and then emphatically threw that challenge flag. He believes Nolan Byrne found the back of the net on that dunk from behind. And we're going to have a review.
Well, it's also just a free look, right? Because you have the challenge flag. You don't know if you're going to have a better opportunity to use it. He was waiting to see if Philly might score on the other end or see what might happen in the play. As you can see, him and Alex Krepensek looking at it. Now the ref is right there, so he's out of the crease.
It definitely goes in.
Right. What matters is
Damoud.
when the ball goes in. Like as we see Damoud, he brings his right arm back, the arm holding the stick. It looked like that might have either knocked the ball or pinched it, as we see from overhead. Ball's in there.
From that angle, you see the ball cross the line and be behind Nick Damoud. That would be a good goal. It didn't seem like his feet were on the crease from what I saw.
No, the only thing would be, and I need to remember this rule correctly, so I apologize. I might get this wrong off the top of my head, but depending on what the offensive player makes contact with his stick. So the offensive player is, there's multiple different rule sets. So the offensive player is either not allowed to.
The home crowd is getting the view we got from up top, and they believe they're seeing a goal.
They're excited about it. But the only thing I can think of is the rule that I'm trying to figure out. He either can't hit the post or he can't hit the goaltender. So will hear the referee.
It didn't seem like he hit the goaltender.
I don't think he did, but I think he definitely hit the post.
Post is definitely possible.
So I don't know if that's what they're looking at. That's the only thing I can think of that would take this long, because otherwise it seems to be a very clear, good goal. But we will hear the referee come out and describe it. There's an international rule set in box lacrosse. There's an NLL rule set. There's also a minor rule set. So we see that.
And you see the contact it makes with the post.
I don't believe it's contact with the post. I believe it's contact with the goalie, because so many dunk goals, you go up and over
with
and
that
you
post.
Right, like there's no situation in which I should be doing it, but I would practice it, and you're going up, you're going to one side, you jump, you reach over, and you kind of almost bang your stick into the pipe.
Did you ever have a goal like that?
No. No. I did have a crease dive. It was off a face-off.
Was that the highlight of your life?
It was up there. It was up there. I had a really nice goal in a Man Cup one time. Looked off Brody Merrill. Sorry, Broads.
No big deal.
No.
No big deal at all.
The defender was covering Brody on his left side, and we both shoot the same way. So I'm floating to my offside, trying to get the ball to him. I believe it was Tyler Richards was in net. He just kind of gave me the whole side of the net open, so I just put it in. But
didn't look like
that
Nolan
would be
Byrne.
second. No, never.
Let's get the decision. And it is a good goal.
I didn't hear the explanation, unfortunately. There's a lot of noise in this building.
I heard it a little bit, but basically, he did not touch the crease. He hit the post. The good dunk. It was a clean dunk, and it was a good goal.
Awesome.
It was basically what we saw from that top angle was the final verdict. 20th goal for the rookie Nolan Byrne, 4-4.
Makes me wonder what the ref thought he saw. Not to discredit anything, right? But he must have thought he saw something, but good challenge by the Swarm.
Everything fast happens so fast in the game of box lacrosse.
Yeah, we were talking about refereeing last night. I'm very appreciative of the refs we do have in the NLL.
Extremely tough job they have. And a good call taking the review, and a good goal for Nolan Byrne. Outside, eaten by Dobson, moves it quickly. McIntosh, and already 3 defenders in for Philly. They're running that door well. They have not let Georgia get into their transition game at all. Thompson in the middle, trying to get through. Keen Moon. Jackson. Low, doesn't squeeze through. No, DeMuth keeps it.
Interesting opportunity from the Swarm. Lyle Thompson kind of shut down, but a good opportunity from Shane. Not a super high quality shot, but it almost did squeak through, and a good chance at a reset. But Philly does come away with it, so good defense here from Philly.
On the back of the net, and Dobson calls for a whistle. And Georgia, they were down by 2, had to come back. Nolan Byrne, the rookie, playing like a vet. The dump in, it was reviewed, but hey, good goal. He'll take it. 4-4, even. Four to 4:36 to go in the second quarter, and coming up on the game halftime, 2 special features for you. Sounds of the NLL through the microphones that the Bandits, Nick Weiss and Vancouver's Jesse King wore for this weekend's NLL Wired, in a bonus episode of NLL Wired, taking a look and a listen to Wings head coach Ian Rubel and veteran star Joey Resiteritz, plus first half analysis and more. Coming up on the game halftime, Joe Resiteritz, a scratch tonight for Philly. But we haven't mentioned his name, the all-time NLL point scorer for American-born players. Gets through, and they're saying no goal. Benedict was in the crease. Just stepped in. I think he got that in with one hand. May not have even thought it was going to be a good opportunity. All his momentum was heading towards that crease. Dobson makes a stop. McIntosh slows things down. Staying out on the offensive end for this possession. Ben Trumbull stuck out there as well. Nolan Byrne. Keen Moon. Shane Jackson, outside shot to Mood. Here's the reset. Georgia can't get to it. Patton picks it up. Ron John. Fennell and Blaze Reardon. Guarded by McIntosh, can't get it around. Quick shot, LeClaire. Dalton Young, diving, saved by Dobson. The other way they go, Kaysen Tarbell. Salmon River, New York. Played at Cornell, he's stuck on the offensive end, just got off. Now we got Connell. A big man out of Denver. Shane Jackson off the post, doesn't go to Mood, turns around in time. Caputo, 2:20 to go. Sinfield moves it to the other side, gets it right back. Guarded by Hickey, pushes, save Dobson. Seth Van Scheppen out of Brampton, Ontario. Played for the Brampton Excelsiors. Lyle Thompson, two-time Tourton winner in college at Albany. Or U-Albany, as they like to be known. Isaiah Davis-Allen. Had 2-on-1, pulls it out. Ron John can't get it. Quick wrists, though.
Yeah, he did get it on net, so a reset. One of the things we haven't talked about.
And Blaze Reardon adds on another. Philly back in front, 5-4 in the driver's seat.
Yeah, really nice pass as Blaze cuts through the middle and doesn't really get picked up. Not sure where the communication was. Again, another defensive breakdown. I was about to say how important it is to keep defenses out there, so getting resets and getting the ball back, even though that was a quick reset, it allows Philly to take their time. Usually in the second and fourth quarters, offense happens really quickly because you have to take so much time changing and getting the ball up the floor. The reset right away does help settle things down, and again, Blaze Reardon just marches on the floor, and the miscommunication as no one picks him up. He goes through the middle and buries it on Brett.
Philly gets the ball right back off the faceoff. O'Neal. And another. Philly, 2 goals, make it 6-4. LeClaire gets on the board.
Really great job from Manley to fight for topside, but O'Neal does a good job and finds the backdoor pass to LeClaire. So we see a pick coming. Manley stays topside, forces O'Neal down the alley. And Tarbell doesn't see his player kind of sneak behind him as Sam LeClaire gets extra low, similar to the Byrne goal from earlier, and is able to bury it.
Van Scheppen all alone off the crossbar. A great opportunity for the Swarm, can't convert. Philly looking for a third straight. Dalton Young pulls it away. Now Armstrong. Went wild trying to find Eric Fennell. 32 points for him on the season. He heads off. Wings back on the defensive end. Keen Moon with some space. Caleb Benedict. And back up top, Jordan McIntosh went to RIT. Connell! Low to low. Georgia back within 1 with 13 seconds to go in the half.
So in high-level lacrosse, one thing that we say that is a key to offense is swinging the ball east to west. So we see Jordan McIntosh go from essentially the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen, back to the top where Richie Connell is, and he gets a quick shot off. And what that does is it doesn't let the defenders or the goaltender set their feet. You do that quick ball movement, the goaltender is still moving side to side, and Connell does such a great job of releasing that in a hurry that there's no way Damoud was able to set his feet, step out to the shot with a good look at it. So great ball movement from the Swarm, even though it was really simple. But again, they swung that ball twice in just as many seconds, and it's buried on a beautiful low-to-low.
Another face-off one for Philly. And that was Bo Columbus, the rookie, who was trying to put his elbow down and fire in there. Sam LeClaire doesn't like Jeff Henrik with the ball right now. And seeing Jacob Hickey walk to the box. So Hickey goes to the box for a slash. Power play for Philly, up by 1. They'll only have 1 second, then we'll go to the half, but they'll be on the power play on the other end.
One of the big differences that you see between this and the field game, there's not going to be a holding of the possession to start the next half with the ball. Every quarter is started with a face-off. It's got to be a pretty heavy slash to get called for it.
Tried to find Caputo. He was standing there for a backdoor dunk, but that'll bring us to the half. Nolan Byrne, 3 goals for him. Throw the hats for that man as well. Dalton Young with 3. 2 youngins running the show. 6-5, Philly leading the way from Gas South Arena, but a close one in this back-to-back rematch. Welcome back to Gas South Arena in Georgia. It's halftime between the Wings and the Swarm, and last weekend brought another exciting batch of games in the National Lacrosse League. Our NLL production team, through our partnership with TSN, was in Vancouver to capture the sights and sounds with the Bandits' Nick Weiss and Vancouver's Jesse King for this week's NLL Wire.
Go, big man. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go.
Welcome back to Gas South Arena in Georgia. It's halftime between the Wings and the Swarm, and last weekend brought another exciting batch of games in the National Lacrosse League. Our NLL production team, through our partnership with TSN, was in Vancouver to capture the sights and sounds with the Bandits' Nick Weiss and Vancouver's Jesse King for this week's NLL Wire.
Go, big man. Come on, come on, come on. Let's go, boys. Ball's wide open. I'm here, Duels. I'm here, Duels. Open, open, free, open. Get high, Steve, get high. Yes. Yes. Do something, then. Do something. Do something. Do something. He's right there. Just run your mouth. Because we're usually strong side, so you guys have more room. But if that's not gonna be the case, then we'll just go. Yeah! Nice shot. I was just trying to get to the bench, relax. Real simple, boys. Let's have a half. Do your job. Let's get this W right now. Right now we start. Bandits on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Cut to the net. Good handle. Hey, lefties, 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 lefties. They're sucking in real hard on our on-ball up-picks. The top guy, just drive your guy in. I want you to touch him. I'll just end your life. Let's go, heads up, heads up, heads up. Yeah!
Welcome back to Gas South Arena in Georgia. Halftime between the Wings and the Swarm. 2 weeks ago, the Wings were in Calgary, and our NLL production team was there to get a bonus episode of NLL Wired. Take a look and listen to head coach Ian Rubel and veteran star Joey Resiteris.
Careful on that mic tonight, eh?
Nice shot. I thought it was for sure a goal. Where'd you shoot it, hip? Nice. Brendan, help him, Brendan. Sammy, switch!
Help! Hey, we gotta play a bit meaner here, right? More urgency.
Nice pick.
Nice box out. That's how it's done. As soon as we pick that ball up, they're attacking us hard, right? So pick that ball up, and we gotta be moving, man.
Hey! It was there, too.
We had numbers, like we had so many numbers.
We had numbers, but everybody was stepping up to pick bodies up, right? So if those guys are stepped up, you don't have support underneath, right?
Go, Resi!
Watch up there, Roots. Watch up there. We're not gonna show it. Oh, he stepped in! Hey, both of you guys, placement's good, man.
That's in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Phil. Oh, boy.
Rest here, Pace. Good job. Good job, rest here. Hey, Eli, good job. You're right, Chris. Yeah, you too, buddy. Good luck, Chris.
Like we're all at our flags right away.
Pull this on.
Ooh, okay. John, I have a jersey. Okay, so do you want to do we'll make sure to just hit the stuff we have to hit, and then if we can come back on cam and do like the jersey stuff? Perfect, and then we'll wrap it. Okay, to Jack, yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to hold it then? So
John, do we need a Jack? Are we doing a Jack interview? Because we have. Oh, okay. So this will be into the half. We don't do another break. Perfect. Cool.
Oh wow.
So you're right. We do have tons of time. Yeah. So yeah, we'll come back on. We'll be like, we'll have this jersey, and Jack will. Then we'll do Jack's interview and stuff. So I say, don't go crazy because Allison talks a lot of detail. I would say, but because John asked us to, just emphasize the Lyle part. He always helps. He helped do this, Well, Lyle, obviously, his connections.
I figured that it would be you sending it to Jack, and you can say to hear more about how we helped bring Lyle Thompson's vision to reality, or again, something along those lines.
Yeah. No, awesome. I'll do that.
And then
I'll try to remember.
I figure you'll do that, and I'll hold it.
Yeah, we could hold it. We could have it here.
Or
just.
I just don't want it to be awkward.
No, it won't. Six to 5 here at the half, and Mini Lyle Thompson, his diving goal, haven't seen a diving goal from the big one yet, but Lyle Thompson does have a goal, found the back of the net. Welcome into Gas South Arena. Nick Kloss alongside the former NLL defender Drew Petkoff. Jack Sadigan down on the floor. Drew, we got another good game between Philly and Georgia. This one tight, 6-5. What are your takeaways?
Yeah. Again, I've said it a couple times on the broadcast already. I'm really impressed with Philadelphia's offense overall. Again, I believe this is the most duress that any team has put on the Swarm defense in the first half. They seem to be having some answers. There seemed to be some miscommunication as 2 of the goals have been right through the middle. There's been 2 goals, I believe, that have come kind of underneath, as you say. So a little bit of miscommunication. I'm sure the Swarm would want to sort that out, but a great job from Philly of finding errors, finding the holes in the Swarm defense.
They've done a great job. Brennan O'Neill stepping up, but Dalton Young's been that major contributor. He's got a hat trick on the day. He's been fantastic.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Again, a lot of individual efforts. We see on his first goal, it reminds me of a Johnny Powless shot, a former Swarm player. He had that great hesitation to kind of overhand, and we see Young on that first one. And then again, another great solo effort to get underneath again.
For Georgia, it's been the rookie Nolan Byrne. He's been a highlight reel.
Yeah, again, another individual effort, a beautiful shot from him. A great job of getting so low and wide to get that kind of slam dunk. And then an actual dunk from behind that we saw a little bit of confusion. The ref says in the crease, but after a challenge, proven to be a good goal. So a great job from Nolan Byrne. And he kind of reminds me, I've played with 2 Rookie of the Years in Steph LeBlanc in Toronto and Randy Stotts in Georgia. And he kind of reminds me to a certain extent of Steph LeBlanc and the great season that he had as Rookie of the Year.
And at the half right now, you saw Nolan Byrne, 3 goals. You saw Dalton Young, his hat trick as well. In this first half, we didn't think it would be offense, 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 but right now it's the defenses, 6-5, holding on pretty well, but it's Georgia's offense hasn't fully clicked the way we're normally used to.
Yeah, the Nolan Byrne goals have been pretty good. The Lyle Thompson goal was a nice shot with a good screen by Nolan Byrne, but not really the pure offensive almost talent that you think of when you think of good goals. Not a ton of ball movement per se, but they are still finding their opportunities. So you're right, both teams doing a great job offensively overall, but we can see, at least on the Swarm side of things, more ball movement, more kind of tic-tac-toe type plays. So we'll look to see that in the second half.
Yeah, and also tonight, we talked about it, it is Native Heritage Night, so the jerseys have been a big storyline. We haven't gotten fully into them just yet. We actually have one right here. And obviously, Georgia going with a black design or a black color scheme and the blue and everything, something they have never done. Lyle Thompson always has such a huge role in this jersey. He helps every single year. It's been gray, yellow. They've done a bunch of different things. So just a really cool concept this year, and they brought Lyle's vision to life.
Yeah, Lyle is someone who, I guess you would call him a hobby artist, a great artist, a fantastic artist, but when he's not playing lacrosse, one of the things he does is drawings, paintings, just all different forms of art. So again, he had a big hand in creating, in creating all the jerseys, and a huge part of this jersey as well.
Yeah, and we've also showed the shot a couple times of that bobblehead. You're seeing Native Heritage Night, Lyle Thompson getting his bobblehead, which they announced it at practice, had it, he got to see it and everything. It's from a specific goal, actually, from last season. They picked a certain one from the Halifax game last year, so it's not just a pose that we've seen him do, obviously, so many times in the NLL with the goals he has scored, but we get to see that highlight here and how it's recreated in that bobblehead. So you see, here's Thompson.
Yeah, he goes underneath with great diving goal. And again, that was a great game. Obviously, we both remember it, but boom, you see that in midair. And that was what we looked to create, or the Swarm looked to create, rather, and did a great job of it.
So that goal becomes that bobblehead as we look at our first half stats. And Philadelphia, they've spent more time in the offensive zone, those 30 shots on goal. They are really challenging Brett Dobson, who's looked unbeatable at times.
Yeah, the two key takeaways for me here are face-offs won and shots on goal. Loose balls is kind of even when you consider the amount of face-offs that Philadelphia has won. But having 8 more shots on goal and being good quality shots is not something that we're used to seeing. Sometimes you'll get outshot, but it won't be good quality shots. There'll be shots from the outside. And it's almost reversed here, where I think Philadelphia's had more shots and more quality shots this game.
And we'll look around. Scores around the NLL. Oshawa right now up on Ottawa in the 4th. Saskatchewan 10-2, top of the league. But Rochester challenging them in the 3rd quarter. And Buffalo and Toronto. What a great battle of those two teams. Always a fun one.
Yeah, we saw Buffalo, I believe it was last night, beat Saskatchewan for only Saskatchewan's 2nd loss. So a really big game for them, proving that Saskatchewan, again, can be beaten.
Proves also that Buffalo is still Buffalo and can still beat you. 5-6, but right now up 1 on their way to, hopefully, if you're a Buffalo fan, to that 500 record. But Philadelphia right now leading 6-5. They carry a power play in. There's 159 penalty for Jacob Hickey in the box for Georgia. That happened right at the end of the first half. It was a slashing penalty. And now we'll bring in Jack Sadegan standing by with Dalton Young.
Thanks, guys. Dalton, good first half for you. In the first 8 games of your career, you had 3 goals. You had 3 in that first half. How are you generating those opportunities?
Yeah, taking a lot of shots, a lot more shots than I've been taking, and just playing confident.
How do you keep the pressure on the Swarm defense in the second half?
Yeah, I think just going at it, right? Pushing pace, keep putting shots on goal, and just keep moving the ball.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
They keep it simple. You talk about it all the time, move the ball. Keep on moving it around. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, in particular, getting that east-west ball movement, right? Keep moving the goaltender's feet. The more you move the goaltender's feet, the better your chances are at getting one past him. It doesn't allow them to set their feet as a shot is coming. And again, Philadelphia doing a pretty good job of moving the ball.
McIntosh wins the face-off forward. And won by the wings. Dalton Young sets back up in the offensive zone as we are underway in the 3rd quarter. 5-on-4 power play for Philly. 1:40 to the left on it.
And we see a rare diamond look on defense from the Swarm.
Good goal. Fennell diving across, puts it behind, and it's another 2-goal lead for Philly.
Now, I'm sure they have a good reason. I'm not a huge fan of a diamond. Usually you're going to do that maybe if there's some 3 shooters along the top that you want to cover. The only problem is it leaves opportunities like this open on the crease. And a great job from Fennell to catch that ball, and he jumps around McIntosh. Again, usually you're saying the threats are up top if you're going to play that diamond. That way you have 3 guys to cover, basically 3 guys, and you're playing a 2-on-1 on the backside. But some players can capitalize on that, and Philly does just that.
Ben Trumbull taking a shot. Adam Wiedemann pulls it away. Went to Belmont Abbey playing D2 lacrosse. Played for the Salmon Bellies this summer, playing for a Man Cup. Kyle Thompson and the Six Nations Chiefs taking it. Back-to-back years. Low, Benedict, no good. Still a free ball. Bounces, Benedict, Damoud, the stop. Nick Damoud has had a fantastic night. Now it's in the crease, and they're calling Benedict in the crease.
Now, they call Benedict in the crease and he's limping off, but he had a great effort. Really impressed by the effort he had that shift. Unfortunate to see him limping there.
There are good chances there for the Swarm. Lyle Thompson. Just mentioned, longtime player for the Six Nations Chiefs. McIntosh outside into the gut of Damoud. Great check by Keen Moon. Takes that right back. Philly has taken it away twice, but Georgia has not let them take it into the offensive end.
And again, along the lines of getting resets, keeping the defense on the floor, making them work. Defense in box lacrosse is exceptionally tiring.
Damoud keeps it out as we will now bring Jack Sadigan back in. Down between the benches, Jack.
Yeah, you saw Caleb hobble off there. He was grabbing at his right calf and behind his right knee. Came off, he was flexing it. The trainer just worked on it. He's jumping up and down now, and it looks like he is ready to go back in the game.
Thank you for that update, Jack. We'll see if we see him pop out of that front door for Georgia. Dalton Young, wrap around, stop by Dobson. Philly scoring more goals already than they did in the full game last night. It was 11-6, Georgia won. Philly already putting 7 up, 12:05 left to go in the third. Byrne. Good defense, Isaiah Davis-Allen. Byrne, and he's in the crease.
Ball bounced out, bounced back in the crease, and then back out. I think the second time, maybe even off the post.
Philly has not been able to settle in. Grace, stopped by Nick Damoud.
Nice check from McIntosh. Ooh, tough call.
What was the call there?
Through the crease, I think on McIntosh. Basically saying as he went to go check whoever on Philadelphia had the ball. I didn't think, now McIntosh made a concerted effort to not hit the crease, but maybe he just toe was in.
Good cut towards the cage. And it looks like the same call on the other end.
Yep.
McGrath. Connell has one. Ripped to low from the outside. Benedict. Cole. Quietly having an amazing year. Connell can't get it on the outside. Ranjan picks up the loose ball.
Yeah, Brian Cole has been very steady the last 2 years. He is one of the guys that I've credited with being not necessarily a role player per se, but he's a guy that's always cutting through the middle and doing things that need to get done, doing the dirty work, if you will.
He's just quietly so good. Does the little things all the right ways.
And that's exactly it. You know, he's the guy that offensively is kind of getting his nose dirty, so to speak.
Jackson tried the twister, couldn't wrap it around. Patton tried to go for a corner just wide. Dalton Young retrieves it before the midline. Under 10 to play in the third quarter. 3 goals for Young. BTB pass, can't go short side. I believe that was LeClaire missing on the shot. And it was. Cole. Good pick from Shane Jackson. Benedict. Been quiet tonight. Shane Jackson from the outside. He's gotten better with that outside shot. We've seen it throughout this year. Hasn't been able to get much going here tonight. He's got 2 assists, no goals. Of the 5, Nolan Byrne has 3, Lyle Thompson 1, and Richie Connell 1. Dobson with the stop on O'Neal. McGrath goes to get it, moves out for Adam Wiedemann. Here comes Connell. Massive presence on the floor. Skip pass. Armstrong. Fast break. All alone. Kept out. Breakaway stop, Brett Dobson.
Great save by Dobson. Nice hustle from Armstrong. Great job picking off the pass. He was a last-minute addition to the lineup today as Michael Sowers was put on the IR.
Cut. Cole. Save Demuth. Benedict gets it back. Georgia cannot get it past Nick Demuth. An 80% save percentage on the year. Another stop. And Ian Rubel told us when we talked to him leading up to this game, he thought Nick Demuth was playing fantastic. He's saving 80% of the shots he faces. That's all we can ask of him. It's the guys around him. And right now, it's showing Nick Demuth playing like one of the best goalies in the NLL.
Yeah, he's having a heck of a night. Again, one of the things that you rely on your defense for is limiting the amount of quality shots that the other team is able to generate. And so, you know, Philly's defense not always kind of limiting them. We mentioned Brian Cole. He did a great job of getting inside twice there, and I want to see more players on the Swarm do that. Just, it helps kind of collapse the shape of the defense, and it helps get guys open around the perimeter. So an important part, I think, of offense is, again, crashing the middle. And, you know, we talk about, that's one of those little things that Brian Cole does well. I'd like to see more guys doing that on this Swarm offense just to generate opportunities.
Thompson gets brought down. There's no call. Trying to get away, Keen Moon. Nolan Byrne, 8 seconds. He gets blown up, and there's a penalty. And Shane Jackson gets involved, and now we got a bit of a scrum. Jackson down on the ground with Bo Columbus. Trying to pull them out. We'll sort this out when we come back. 7-5, Philly up by 2 here at Gas South.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here.
Oh, what a move!
With NLL Friday night on TSN.
(7-5), 6:36 to go in the third quarter. We had a scrum, some extracurriculars when we went to break. Looking at our officials, Mark Giordano, Sean Grenier, David Westwood, and Matt Schwartz on the shot clock in between the boxes. Getting all the explanation. Shane Jackson is in the box alongside with Bo Columbus in the other one, obviously, as those two didn't get into a full-fledged fight, but ended up on the ground wrestling.
Well, at the start of the play, or how the play started, I guess I should say, Nolan Byrne, you know, just playing offense. Awkward situation. Let's hear from the refs here.
Georgia, number 32, has a minor penalty, roughing. The 2 finals are going to cancel. We're going to have a differential on Philadelphia. 5-1-4. The differential is going to be served by the Georgia ball.
All right, so to kind of continue to thought, because it's going to lead into the penalties, Nolan Byrne basically ends up getting triple teamed right here. Now, the penalty is going to Columbus. And then as the pushing happens, Jackson is going to get a penalty and Columbus is going to get an additional penalty. So their penalties are going to cancel out. The initial penalty is being served by the in-home, so we're going to have 5-on-4. So pretty simple overall, actually.
Get that explanation from the official. Same one there from Drew. So it'll be 5-on-4 power play for the Swarm for the next 2 minutes. 2 Philly players in the box, just Shane Jackson in the Swarm box, and Ian Rubel and his guys now on a kill. Byrne. Good movement, Cole. Back for Byrne. Thompson. Benedict. Can't dump it over. Benedict stays out of the crease, but Philly picks it up. Patton gets it on the one hand. Save Dobson. Blockers it away. Supposed to go to Byrne. Official got in the way. And Georgia fans not happy about it. Here's Brennan O'Neill. Leading Philly in scoring this year, but Dalton Young leading the team in scoring tonight. Sam LeClaire moves it, gets it back. Young guarded by Jeff Henrick. Here's Hickey one-on-one with LeClaire. Has to dump it back as the shot clock expires. Tried to kill as much as they could of this power play. Swarm back on it, down by 2. Philly's been stuck at that 1 or 2 goal lead. Georgia hasn't been able to even it up. Demuth another save, Benedict to reset 30 seconds.
Lyle was able to get really close on that shot.
Keen Moon gets stopped. Moon. Behind, Byrne gets it! 4 goals for Nolan Byrne. A 1-goal game.
A great adjustment from Nolan Byrne. So we see Byrne to Moon, back to Byrne, and he goes for the crease dive, but you see he goes all the way around Demuth. He knows that he's kind of telegraphing this crease dive a little bit. So instead of just trying to tuck it short, we see Demuth cover up that far side, or the short side, I should say.
And while we were looking at that highlight, there was a red flag thrown by Ian Rubel in the Philly bench. Nolan Byrne will wait. So Nolan Byrne will wait to see if he truly does have a 4th goal on the night. He'll get his helmet fixed up there. Didn't see anything on that original one, and actually, let's look at that right foot. The nice thing is, because you got the white cleats, the white line, but the green turf, usually if you can't see a sliver of green color, it means he's probably just barely on the crease.
Yeah, it could be an issue of just the camera angle and how far away it is. There might have been a sliver of green there. It's tough to tell entirely, but again, it was called a good goal on the field, so they have to have kind of that irrefutable evidence to overturn it, and that is what they're looking at. You see them zooming in on it as we have more and more technology available at our disposal these days.
That's a good look at that right foot. The question is conclusive evidence. Also, Nolan Byrne, Drew, it's so impressive what he can do in the air. So many of his goals comes off that cross crease dive, or comes from dunking it in from behind. It's so impressive what he can do in such short time.
Yeah, especially because you're not allowed to do a lot of that stuff when you're playing in kind of the younger or earlier editions, whether it's junior or field. the goal, I think it was his second goal where he was kind of like tiptoeing GLE and was able to kind of one-touch it in. Again, a beautiful one-timer goal, beautiful quick stick goal where he kind of is able to suspend himself. And like you said, he's doing a great job of being in tight and having, being in the right spot at the right time is one thing, and then he's also able to control himself, control the ball really well. And they're still taking a look at it. Both refs are still intent on it.
And while they do take a look and do it a little longer, we will show the standings here because this game is a big one. You see Philly 2-9. If they want to climb their way back into this, you have to have this game. For Georgia, it's about a playoff hosting scenario at the moment. Obviously, there are still plenty of games to play, but right now the Swarm 8-3 in that little log jam with Vancouver and Colorado potentially.
Yeah, we see the 4 teams at the top, they've really kind of stuck out above the rest of the league this year.
And you got a great game going on between Saskatchewan and Rochester. Under 2 minutes to go and tied 12-12. You already said it. Saskatchewan losing that second game wouldn't look good to drop back-to-back.
This is one of the most jam-packed lacrosse weekends, maybe just in history ever, because we've seen so many teams that played last night playing again this night. There's lacrosse going on all over the place.
So Nolan Burns stays at a hat trick. No fourth goal for him, and now drew Georgia back down by 2.
Yeah, great job from the Philadelphia bench, the Philadelphia coaches, to take a look at that, see, hey, I think that foot is on the line. And they got the challenge right. So a huge swing in momentum.
So we've had 2 challenges, one from each coach, both correct. So we'll step aside. 2-goal game, Philly up on Georgia. Right now, the Swarm down by 2 to Philly, but looking in at a 12-12 game between the Rush, Saskatchewan, and Rochester. 37 seconds to go, and it is tight. Drew, you were just saying what a lacrosse weekend we have and have had between the NLL and all over. I know you've been coaching, I'm coaching. We both are in lacrosse season. It's that time of year.
Penalty expires, and we are back to 5-on-5 lacrosse.
O'Neal. No good. Rebound, Ben Trumbull trying to track it down. 4:15 to go in the third quarter as we got more pushing in the corner as guys end up on the ground with Liam McGrath.
So there was a delayed penalty, I believe, and that was before the scuffle. Now, I wasn't sure if it was going to be on the Swarm, but it looks like it is. Damoud had not left the net, and it was kind of a loose ball, so I don't think anyone really knew who it was on.
So Ben Trouble in the box.
I believe I saw a holding the stick signal.
So right after Georgia gets off the power play, Philly will go on the power play.
Yeah, and we see the Swarm back in a box formation. Again, you don't really see diamond used very often, and the only reason I can think of is they really want to kind of mess with the 3 top shooters.
Diving around the wings, up by 3. Eric Fennell diving across.
Well, I say that, and the Wings score the exact same way they did when the Swarm was in the diamond. So we see Michael Grace. Now, Michael Grace goes up to challenge that shot. Now, it's a little tough because you can't step into the crease, but I would think that we would like to see, or the Swarm would like to see Grace move more towards the middle of the field and less upfield, taking away the far side lane, and that way he's able to slide towards Fennell as Fennell gets that ball, as opposed to Fennell being just purely behind him.
Possession for the Swarm. They need a goal just to slow this Philly momentum. Getting word Saskatchewan and Rochester are going to overtime in that 12-12 game. Here's Cole. No good, Philly heading the other way. Handed off to Isaiah Davis-Allen as Ben Cromer, rookie, will get off. Now the offensive personnel on. Dalton Young. Missing wide. Young gets it right back. Young had a single goal coming into today. He has a hat trick. Van Scheppen gets it off the ricochet. Mike Manley. Tough defender. Bringing that veteran presence to a very young Georgia team. They had 5 rookies playing for them coming out of training camp. Lyle Thompson getting hounded by Ron John.
Yeah, and John was maybe a little bit lucky there. He was kind of draped all over Thompson. No call on the play. Thought there could have been a hold there.
2 minutes, 10 seconds in the third quarter. Fennell couldn't retrieve it. Caputo goes wide. Ben Trumbull released from his penalty. Good kill for Georgia. Jeff Henrick and now Nolan Byrne. 3 goals at a 4th that was taken away. Trumbull getting in on the offensive action. Low ripper. Looks like it had to move, fooled a little bit. 5 seconds. Georgia cannot get the reset.
Nice shot block there by Cromer.
Plays Reardon. Neal trying to track it down. He'll get back on the defensive end, slow down the break. McElrath moved it for Manley. That's a defensive rush right there. Mike Manley, Liam McGrath, and Michael Grace with Jacob Hickey. Outside rip from Caleb Benedict, stopped by Damoud. Good shoulder check, Cole on Columbus.
So the Swarm overall have been doing a good job of holding on to possession. There have been a couple quick shots. Good check by Cole again. But I'd like to see the Swarm a little bit more selective.
LeClaire couldn't get it over the top.
And just really working to upgrade their shots. 19 seconds left. Dobson was heading to the bench, and he goes now. So the Swarm will hold it for a few seconds before they go.
Extra forward for Georgia. Byrne, Thompson. He's got 1 goal tonight. Byrne couldn't get the corner as time expires in the third. And Georgia, 15 more minutes to get back on top. Philly trying to hold on, 8-5. The Wings ahead. Brett Dobson trying to shut the door, but it's been Nick Damoud. Philly on top. Quarter by quarter breakdown. Philly has held the advantage almost the whole way. It was tied 4-4 at one point, but since then, they've just kept 1 or 2 goal lead and finally stretching it to this 3-goal lead going in to the final 15. Drew, Georgia, they got the win on the road. Now it's Philly leading in the final frame.
Yeah, Philly's done, again, a great job of finding quality opportunities and cashing in on them. I think there's been a decent amount of miscommunication on the Swarm's end. I think overall the Swarm is still playing well. But Philly has really capitalized on their opportunities. So the few chances that have been present, Philly's done a great job of capitalizing on them.
Wings win the face-off back. Has not been the ideal day for this Georgia defense. That man's been a handful. Dalton Young picked off, Tarbell running it. Shane Jackson coming from the front door. Goes low, Damoud makes the stop.
Jackson is usually pretty automatic in that situation. Damoud just read it the whole way.
You said it in the break. He hasn't made any spectacular saves, but he's been consistent and has made all the ones he's needed to.
Well, and that one is kind of borderline spectacular because it was just such a good read, right? He didn't need to move too much. He knew where Shane was going with that shot, and just a great job of being where he needed to be.
He's got over 30 saves now. 32 to be exact. Philadelphia picks up the loose ball. Bobbles it around. And finally corralled by Dylan Hutchinson. Moved on. Cromer and now Ron John getting the offensive names in. Plays Reardon. And a turnover. Whistle.
Yeah, good job from the Swarm defense. Again, they're not necessarily giving up a lot, but again, when Philly is able to get over top or inside, they're making the most of it.
Georgia, they've won 6 straight games. And Benedict had his stick knocked by McIntosh.
Oh, now Benedict's going to get a penalty for retaliation. Roughing penalty, most likely.
Delayed penalty. Nick DeMood on the bench and an extra forward for Philadelphia. Bounce wide, ricochets to Reardon. Behind, Reardon. Twister from Fennell goes above the net. And Benedict will come off the bench and walk across to the sin bin. Let's get word here on the penalty. So you saw it, Drew. Benedict.
Well, on the
just
play,
an extra shot.
Yeah, on the play, it was great defense by, I couldn't see who the Philadelphia defender was. And as Benedict finally got away, you mentioned his stick was hit by McIntosh. He loses the ball, and then as he's going to the bench, kind of gets tied up with someone and ends up giving them a little bit of a shot.
O'Neal gets it back. Doesn't rip it. Right into the stick of Tarbell. Hickey slows things down, and now Shane Jackson comes in.
So we saw in that graphic just really quickly that Philadelphia is 3 for 3 on power plays. All 3 are from the left side. Reardon with 1, Fennell with 2. So I'm kind of looking to see if they go for almost a righty finish here.
Here's the double on Thompson. There is still 1:14 to go on the power play for Philly. If Philly can get this done, they would be 8-0 against the Swarm when coming to Georgia. Like I said, the Swarm took down Philly in Philly last night. Right now, Georgia struggling with the wings. Big save by Dobson. But could get their 8th win in 9 tries here in Gas South. Down low, Connell gets stopped by DeMood.
That was a really nice pass from Jordan McIntosh to kind of float that in. Had to be very precise with that one.
Chris Corbeil rolls it. Fennell out of St. Catharines, Ontario. And now an American trio up top, Reardon, O'Neal, and Young. Off the shoulder of Dobson. Hickey pops it up, can't get it. Loose ball, picked up by Philly. They keep the offensive possession going.
And we are now back to 5-on-5. As Caleb Benedict comes out of the box and goes right back onto the defensive end. Sometimes you'll see that player, if it's a forward, go straight to the bench.
Great kick save, Brett Dobson. Dobson with 36 saves on the night. Fennell misses on the dive. Michael Grace will take it. Down by 3, under 10 minutes to go in the game. Lyle Thompson and the Swarm trying to come back at home. 8-3 on the year. Sitting in 4th. Outside rip from Jackson. We got a delayed penalty. Dobson to the bench. Extra coming on. And McIntosh, the captain for the Swarm. 6-on-5.
Yeah, it was some sort of hit right in the middle.
Cole. McIntosh behind. Dumps it! No goal! Saying he's in the crease. And with that, it brings us into the break. But before we do that, we'll get an announcement on the penalty and everything. And there is the challenge flag coming from Eddie Camo. Rochester, you saw on the bottom of your screen, getting that win against Saskatchewan, so that makes the standings even more interesting now, so we'll have to get a look at those later. And here comes the review. We'll have to see if McIntosh was able to get it in the back of the net before his feet touched down on the ground. That is Chris Corbeil and Jordan McIntosh. So they are going to look at that play. Eddie Camo just challenged the Jordan McIntosh goal. The one thing that is for certain is there's a penalty against Philadelphia for an illegal cross-check. Jordan McIntosh has been with the Swarm for over a decade.
All right, fans, it's time for the Georgia Lottery Dance.
And we will step aside while they take a look. 8-5, Philly leading Georgia here late.
This is the moment you waited all week for. It's Friday night. Whether you're at home or out on the town, it all starts here.
No, he didn't!
The weekend starts here.
Oh, what a move!
With NLL Friday night on TSN.
The NLL's March to May is brought to you by Hotel Planner. Travel smarter with exclusive NLL fan discounts at nll.hotelplanner.com. And by StubHub, your home for tickets to the speed and intensity of the NLL. Georgia faithful getting a little tense here. 8-5, down by 3. They will have a power play here shortly, but right now, the last goal is under review. Jordan McIntosh dunked a ball in from behind the net. So right now there's a look actually on the big screen here in Gas South.
Sorry. So I could see the ref pointing to kind of the top of the crease. They're looking at, who is that at the top of the crease? Is that 18? Byrne? Yeah. So Josh Byrne is in the crease. So again, what they're trying to do is determine whether or not Josh Byrne has established himself outside of the crease.
You mean Nolan?
Or, sorry, Nolan Byrne, yes.
I get it. Hey, it's hard with the Burns.
Yes, excuse me. So McIntosh is fine, but they're looking at Byrne, and then I don't think whoever's at the bottom of the screen here, I'm not sure if that's Lyle. I don't think that's 4.
I believe that's Keen Moon.
You think that's Keen Moon?
Yellowhead, I believe.
Oh, good look. Yep, you're right. Okay, so Byrne gets cross-checked, and he kind of jumps out of the crease right there. And so good heads-up play from Nolan Byrne, excuse me, to pop out of the crease. And again, he has to kind of establish himself out of the crease. So usually we talk about the foot being in the crease. I'm not sure the rule because it's kind of his hand. His foot isn't in the crease.
So how can he reestablish?
Right, so traditionally it would be, if they're going to use the kind of traditional sense of it, that hand has to touch green. So, but because it's his hand, I'm not sure if he just needs to like lift it. Usually it's your foot.
It looked like he did and lifted out by the time McIntosh got it in, because he saw him going for the goal and you saw him pull that left arm and leg in.
Right, so if I'm standing in the crease and as McIntosh is doing that dunk, I jump outside of the crease. If my feet are still in the air, I am still in the crease. When I land, that would be considered establishing myself outside the crease. But again, it's a little bit different because it's not his feet, it's his body. So here, his whole body's kind of outside the crease.
He pulls it out by the time McIntosh is starting. It has leaped into the air. So this is a good look at it. Byrne gets out. He's out by the time that ball goes in.
Right, so again, my question is what exactly is determining it, because his hand was down, his hand is clearly out, but does he need to retouch his hand down onto the turf to essentially reestablish or establish himself outside of the crease? Again, it's a little bit of a tricky one because they're also probably looking at McIntosh. They're also probably looking at, as you mentioned, Keen Moon. But again, I saw the ref kind of point to Nolan Byrne as he was kind of doing that little leap outside of the crease.
While they talk that over, let's look at the standings now after that Rochester and Saskatchewan game has now wrapped up. So that now brings Saskatchewan down to that 3-loss gauntlet that we're seeing. But Georgia, if they lose this game, they'll drop 4 losses, still be at that 4th spot because there is that little drop down to Ottawa.
Yeah, again, there's a clear drop-off between the top 4 teams and everybody else, although Ottawa having 7 wins now is pretty impressive, although the refs do seem like they have a decision for us.
So they do call it no goal.
Yeah, you could hear him say inconclusive evidence. So again, it's a really weird one because Byrne was on the ground and trying to do that when you are on the ground. I know a similar situation has happened when I've played, and usually it's a tough one to answer. So inconclusive evidence, but the Swarm are on the power play.
And they're about to be on a 5-on-3. Brian Cole just got hit up high. Philly is gonna get another sent to the box.
So I saw Cole go down, I didn't see the hit.
It was a high, I would guess high cross check. Let's see what the official who's smarter than me. He said illegal cross check, so I'll take that.
Yeah, I was wondering, just because again, if it's a high stick, it's an automatic 5. And they've started play really quickly. Now you'll see Jordan McIntosh up at center. You don't necessarily need 5 players to beat 3. You only need that 1 extra. And Philly being pretty rough there with Benedict on the crease, kind of getting away with 1 there. But Swarm come up with the ball.
Damoud, another stop. Jackson. Swarm trying to come up with another. Like I said, or like Drew just said, 5-on-3. So numbers very in favor of the Swarm when it comes to those loose balls. They got 23 seconds on the shot clock. Thompson loses it. Another loose ball now. Benedict battling with him. Benedict fires wide. Nolan Byrne. Benedict again. Shot gets blocked. Byrne. 50 seconds on the first penalty. Now, Philly gonna have to play keep away with 2 less players. Here's Patton, trying to stay away from Byrne. Now Dalton Young.
So in a situation like this, you'll usually see 1 defensive player covering everybody and then a safety, possibly a second safety or possibly a double team on the ball. I would think they would double team the ball here as they get the ball deflected off Dobson and out, so they get the reset. And a great tip from the Swarm
Wiedemann running it down. They reestablish 6 seconds on the first penalty. Georgia unsuccessful on the 2-man advantage. Now 1-man advantage, stopped by DeMuth.
Yeah, and we have 5 seconds left now in the second penalty, and a great kill from Philadelphia. Not too many great opportunities from the Swarm.
Georgia has been completely stalled here in the second half. It was 6-5 when we went to the halftime break. Only 2 goals scored, both for Philly. All the way across, couldn't hit Jackson. A great look, and we got a loose ball push, so Georgia ball. McIntosh wants to get going. Thompson. DeMuth, another stop into the netting, stays here. Jackson can't connect on the back door. Thompson. Moon. Once again, Nick DeMuth with the stop. Georgia's offense cannot find a way to beat him up front. It's been a lot of those dump goals from behind, the diving goals in front from Nolan Byrne, and also screening the goalie. We saw Byrne screen and help Thompson find the back of the net. Jackson, under 6 minutes now. Georgia down by 3. Jackson pushed square in the numbers. Now Byrne through everyone, can't get it.
Over the last 2 offensive shifts, Philadelphia's been extra physical. They've put a lot of Swarm players down on the turf.
Ian Rubel, before this game, said he wanted to finally see a full 60 minutes from his team. Getting close here. Fennell. One-hander. And that'll bring us to a break. 4:56 left to go. And Georgia trailing by 3. Philly on their way to getting their revenge on the loss last night. Up 3 at Gas South. Philly holding on to this 3-goal lead on Georgia, trying to make it 8-1 against the Swarm here in Gas South. 3 stars of the game. Your first star, Dalton Young, a 5-point night. The hat trick. He only had 1 goal coming into today. Breakout star, Nolan Byrne, the rookie. 3 goals, had a 4th taken away. He's been really the catalyst on offense today for Georgia. And then Nick DeMuth. 43 saves, he's been steady, come up big in the big moments, and just really tough to beat. These are the 3 stars of the game, brought to you by TFL Sports.
And as we enter just under 5 minutes, Swarm looking to put a few more, maybe change up those stars, but it's getting really loud in Gas South Arena. It's been a good atmosphere here tonight.
Byrne. Outside shot gets blocked. Philly clogging the lanes. Thompson comes and grabs it.
Oh.
And now we might have two dropping the gloves. Cole going against Patton. Gloves are off. They both go down. Patton on top of Cole. The Hive loves it in Duluth. You don't see it much when you watch the Swarm. But right now, Brian Cole has been physical, been sticking up for his teammates. And now they all getting into it, and we'll have those two head to the box. Cole will head to the locker room with under 5 to play.
On each of the last 3 possessions, Philadelphia's been a little bit extra aggressive and have consistently been knocking Swarm players onto the turf. A couple of them, the one I can understand the ref thinking Shane Jackson maybe kind of turned a little bit. But seems like Philadelphia may be taking a little bit of liberties here, and Cole, gets tired of it and stands up for himself and his teammates.
Both had a bit of blood on them. They're now both back at their locker rooms while the officials get everything together out on the floor. Wow, that's a really nice Brennan O'Neill jersey. Did you not see it?
Available online.
Yeah, there you go.
Hard to hear because of the noise in the building. 5 minutes for fighting each, and a game misconduct for fighting under 5 minutes in the game. So the penalties cancel each other out, 5 on 5. Nothing happens except for those 2 players are ejected from the game.
Shane Jackson outside, stopped by Nick DeMuth. Georgia offense able to consistently find double-digit goals over that last 6-game stretch. 19 against Calgary, then 10, 11, 12, 11, 11. Right now being held to just 5. Goes down for Jackson, gets deflected. I believe that's Ron John getting back to the ball for Philly. Caputo, Fennell. Now O'Neill. Brendan O'Neill has had a really quiet night. Philly also without Joe Reseteris and Michael Sowers tonight.
But as you mentioned, Young, the other American from your hometown, stepping up.
Yes, sir. 5 will stop Nick DeMuth. Dalton Young from Chantilly, Virginia.
Did you play against him?
I'm from Centerville.
Oh.
So his high school, I actually don't know where he went to high school specifically, but Chantilly and Centerville about 10 minutes apart. So, same area. Brennan O'Neill went to St. Anthony's. I know where he went to high school. One of the most prominent private schools there. The Chaminade St. Anthony's rivalry, one of the best in high school lacrosse. Jeff Henrik picking it up. 2.5 minutes to go. Georgia needs 3 goals. Not impossible, but they have to execute. Nolan Byrne.
They have pulled the goalie.
And now they'll get him back on. Dobson heading back to the net.
Oh, almost picked off by Hickey there as the floater to center just is completed. Philadelphia really just looking to kill time here. They've obviously shown that they do not want to go to the net. They just want to kill as much time, use the entire 30, and not get caught in transition.
Mike Manley brings it over.
Dobson's going to come again. I see them signaling. He was fixing the net, so he was a little bit delayed.
Thompson low, Benedict, skip. Thompson.
Oh, and it looks like it hit a Swarm player behind.
I think it was Nolan Byrne behind. Ended up eating his teammate's shot over and back. Philly will go to get it.
So they're not going to have time to put the goalie in, so they're going to have to double team the ball no matter what. And it works out for them. Oftentimes in a situation like this, the only thing that matters is not letting them kill the clock. So you double team the ball and you either get the ball back or they score. And you don't care because you just get time, hopefully, to score later.
Empty net goal. The assurance for Philly that they'll come out of here with their third win of the season. And finally, being the first team to figure out Brett Dobson and a way to beat the Swarm defense.
Well,
empty net.
You
Ben
say that.
Cromer gets the goal.
Sorry, you say that. It's a good empty net goal. They've only scored 9, so they haven't even put up double digits, and one of them's been empty.
That's a bad day for Brett Dobson and the Georgia Swarm defense.
Right.
Based on the year they've had. Because you look over their past 6 games on that win streak, 9 is the most they've allowed, but they've won all those games.
Right.
They allowed 9 against Calgary, 9 against Toronto, 9 against Vegas, but won those 10-9, 12-9, and 19-9.
Yeah, really, to me, hats off to the Philadelphia offense, finding unique ways to put the Swarm defense under duress. And again, they've capitalized on some opportunities. I don't necessarily think the Swarm defense has played bad. I think they've actually done a lot of good things. I've seen a lot of good shot blocks. One thing that we haven't said, I did take note of, Philadelphia is doing a good job, of almost like pump faking. Not quite pump faking, but disguising their shot. I talked about I believe it was the first young goal reminiscent of former Swarm player, longtime Rochester Nighthawks player, Johnny Powless. He was a lefty, but he did a great job of bringing that ball kind of low and to the side, pausing halfway through, and then almost turning it into a Brennan O'Neill style overhand shot.
It's under 2 minutes, so you gotta review any goals scored. So we'll get another face-off between Trumbull and Columbus. Philly took face-offs in this one, 12-6. 45 seconds left to go for Georgia. See if they can create a late flurry. Trumbull, stopped by DeMood, extra aggressive. Net comes off, but he makes the stop.
Philly again just going to look to run the clock out here. They might even throw it away early. Swarm not pressuring too much. At this point, it's kind of a done deal, and let's just get out of here. Don't have anybody else get hurt.
And so this will update the standings, but really won't shift too much. Jackson from the outside, as that'll wrap things up. Philly gets their 3rd win of the year, now 3-9, and they do what they need to do if they want to keep those playoff hopes alive. 6-game win streak for Georgia. No more, but they're 8-4. They'll still stand in that 4th spot, with Ottawa being right behind them. And we'll show you those standings. Obviously, we already talked about Saskatchewan losing to Rochester, which drops them down to 3 losses, creating a logjam at the top now. And Nick DeMood getting the win with Philly and bumping up over Calgary and Oshawa. This is up to date as of right now. Saskatchewan 10-3, like I just said. Georgia still in that 4th playoff spot, coveted to host in the playoffs. So still in a good spot, Drew, but obviously a disappointing one.
Yeah, definitely. And as we look at the standings, not necessarily a surprise at the top with Saskatchewan. They were a finalist last year, but a bit of a surprise with Buffalo being on the outside looking in right now, as well as Rochester. So Swarm are still in a great position. They had a decent game overall today. It was really, you know, the Philadelphia defense. I wasn't sure if there was some talking going on there as the referees seemed like they were stepping into the handshake.
Shane Jackson was almost out of the handshake line.
Got it.
They got it back together. And Dalton Young, you're seeing him right there. What a night for him. Came in with 1 goal. He had 3 here tonight. We'll send it down to Jack Sadigan with Nick DeMood.
Thanks, Nick. We're in the middle of a little bit of a scrum down here.
There's a lot going on right now.
A little bit of a scrum down here.
Yeah, this is the fight we need, though. We need a fucking... Sorry. No swearing. We need some pushback of our group. That's what we did tonight. We pushed back. That's what we need to do.
So I've got Nick in the midst of some jawing back and forth between these two. But Nick, 48 saves for you tonight. Big performance, big win for this team. How'd you slow down the Swarm?
I think it was just a full team effort. We've talked about, you know, them letting me see shots I want to see, and I think we did that tonight. I think on a doubleheader, you know, it's a bit easier to scout a team. You played them the night before, but you know, I'm just glad we got the win.
How would you describe playing back-to-back games, playing 2 games in the net?
You know, it brings you back to minor almost. When you're a little kid, it's kind of brings back a little bit of passion for the game. It's pretty fun.
How does this win affect this team going forward, getting that 3rd of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we got to start stacking wins. You know, there's no putting it any other way. So, you know, it helps. We got to look forward to next week and try to get a win next week.
The energy here, players obviously jawing back and forth. We were just in the middle of it. How would you describe that?
Yeah, I think we brought some passion tonight. I think that's been something we've lacked in past games, and you know, we need to have that passion tonight. We brought it.
Congrats on the win. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. You saw the action down here.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, you were right in the heat of it, having some fun there. Drew, what are your final takeaways from this one?
Yeah, I think, again, not a bad effort from the Swarm defense. A pretty good effort from the Philadelphia defense and Nick DeMood. And again, it seemed like there was a little bit of a spark missing on the Swarm offense. If there was any kind of difference maker, again, I don't necessarily critique them too much, but you obviously do have to put more than 5 in. And, you know, defense did a pretty good job overall. Philly capitalized on the few mistakes that were present. And honestly, I really enjoyed the game. I thought everyone played pretty well. Again, even though there was only 5 goals for the Swarm, I think they were moving the ball pretty well. They just weren't maybe doing that little bit of extra to get inside and upgrade their shots. So a really hard-fought battle, especially on a back-to-back. Again, a lot of Swarm players going down towards the end of the game, so maybe Philly getting away with taking a few liberties there, which kind of probably led to some of that scrum at the end, but a lot of passion and a really enjoyable game.
It was a fun one, 9-5, your final score. And for Drew Petkoff, Jack Sadigan, our producer John Coleman, Leap Replay producer Kim Van Vadorp, Taylor, and our entire crew, this has been a presentation of the National Lacrosse League in association with Freedom Broadcast Studios. I'm Nick Kloss saying so long from Georgia. The Wings getting the win on the Swarm, 9-5. Have a great rest of your night.